What's up, escapees, and welcome back to my second escape breakdown. I got some decent feedback from the gauntlet breakdown video I did last week, so I wanted to carry on and bring you another one of these. This time around we are covering the Hive. As I mentioned, this video will cover everything about the escape map called the Hive. Just to remind you how this will work, I'll cover everything I possibly can about this escape. The weapons, the enemies, each individual act, and then finish with the best classes to take to beat this one. I don't ever want these videos to be too long either, so you can quickly refresh yourself if it pops up as the daily or weekly Hive, or if you plan on mastering this map. One special mention before I really jump into this: if you are planning on mastering all the Hives for the new Seriously 5.0 achievement, this map is tracked twice for some reason. It is listed once as the Hive and again as the Hive past Hive. This weirdly counts as two separate hives of the 32 in total, so you will have to master this one twice to unlock the achievement. You can find a full list of what you have yet to master by going into this menu, hitting stats, then click on escape, and finally hit Hives Mastered. It will be listed as a number out of 32 and will list all the maps you've beaten, at which difficulty, and what your best time is. Let's get started though. Some basic information about this map first. The Hive has 2 acts. You will start with a 60-second venom timer, and there are a total of 4 cog tags in this map. 2 in the first act and 2 in the second act. Cog tags will help to reduce your time if you are trying to beat a certain time, let's say for the weekly Hive. Cog tags are also randomised with their spawning locations, but mostly always spawn in weapons rooms. You could find all of them in the same room, or they may be spread out evenly between all the rooms. Depending on which difficulty you choose, you will have different starting times, so here is a full list of what your timer will start at depending on your difficulty. You may want your starting time to be lower, but as the difficulty goes up, so do the number of mutators to contend with, so I'll cover the mutators this map has. More health. Enemies have increased health. More lethal. Damage to players is increased. Regen penalty. You and your teammates' health regeneration is 50% slower. Faster venom. Venom moves twice as fast. Ammo starvation. Less ammo given in pickups. This only affects ammo boxes and will reduce different ammo by varying rates. Let's quickly cut away from the mutators so I can break this one down for you. And for simplicity, I will only cover the weapons available on this map. Here is a full list of all the weapons that you can get on this map. Here are all the values of what you would normally expect from picking up ammo boxes. And finally, here is a list from what you will actually get with the ammo starvation mutator active. You will pick up a lot less ammo. Back to the mutators. Regeneration. This will allow enemies to regenerate health back to full if left alone. Iron Man. Teammate respawn pods will no longer appear, so don't die. Mutators are out of the way, on to weapons next. Before that though, I'm going to break this down a little bit more and cover each act individually. So let's get rid of the second act and focus on the first half of this map. There are 4 weapon rooms in Act 1, and here are the locations and contents of all of those rooms. As you can see, there are plenty of grenades and ammo boxes available on this map. Now, let's cover the enemies next. Sticking with the first act, I'll mention when I change over to the second one, or just look at the chapters in the bottom of this video, if you need to go back and forth. The enemies were a bit difficult to figure out for this hive, but I did manage it. I will cover this entire area first. It might seem like a large space, but this is one huge spawning location for the first bunch of enemies. There will always be 12 rejects dotted around this area. Then there will be a mix of free grenadiers, hunters or snipers. You could get 3 snipers or you could get 1 of each. There will also be up to 7 drones, although some can be taken away in groups of 2 to 3 in place of 3 to 4 immagos instead. There doesn't seem to be any kind of pattern with where the enemies spawn here though. You may have a grenadier and some drones as your first enemies, then nothing but rejects until you get to the weapon room or the end of this section. It's a bit strange. The second encounter is tiny and will take place here. There will be a single imago or 2 juvies waiting near these weapon rooms. Don't forget about them as they can still kill you on the harder difficulties. The third encounter you have in this act will take place here in this big room. There will be 6 drones and a single ice scion here, backed up by either 2 grenadiers, 2 hunters or 2 snipers. Once you defeat these enemies, there is an optional fight you can have. As soon as you cross this threshold to make your way into the safe room, 5 juvies and 2 grenadiers will spawn behind you here. If you and your team are well organised and close together, you can actually ignore these and just make your way straight into the safe room. These safe rooms will act as a checkpoint between the acts. If you happen to die in the second act, you don't have to go all the way back to the very beginning. Now that we are about to start the second act, let's take a step back and check out what weapons are available here. I will include the contents of the safe room you just got to here as well. There are 3 extra weapon rooms available in the second act and they are located here. As you can see, they contain more grenades and more ammo boxes. Time to get back to the enemies again. Your first fight in Act 2 will take place here, and there are a few different things that can spawn. You will get either a single sire or a single grenadier elite. On top of that, 5 grenadiers, a single mulcher scion, or 15 juvies will also spawn. These can mix and match depending on your run, so be prepared for whatever comes running at you and your team. You now have 2 options. Do you want to go left or right? If you choose to go right, you can expect to fight 3 drones backed up by 2 sniper elites. But if you go left, you will have to fight 3 drones, 2 grenadier elites and a sire. Whichever way you choose, you will come back around to this point. But try to stick together as a team, as once you make your way past either of these paths, you will have to fight a boss, which will be either a warden or a flock. Now it is possible to lock these bosses in one of the nearby weapon rooms. The choice is yours. I'm just telling you what to expect to fight. Onto the final room, you have a big fight here with a whole bunch of different enemies. You will have to fight through 3 imagos, 3 drones, 2 grenadier elites, 2 sniper elites, 1 mulcher scion and 1 dropshot scion. This can be a tough fight as you have a lot coming towards you, but if you make it past all these, you will be at the exit. Before you head to the exit though, as soon as any player passes this threshold, 2 grenadiers and a mulcher scion will spawn here, making their way towards you. It's your choice if you want to fight these or try to lock them in with the final doors. Once you do make your way outside, pull a lever and make sure you are prepared for the final fight to freedom. There will be a whole bunch of juvies that will come running towards you, backed up by a couple of grenadier elites that will have also spawned here. Remember that mulcher scion and grenadier elite I also mentioned? If you left them alone, expect them to be backing up the juvies and grenadiers that will now be running at you as well. Use your grenades, ultimates, any power weapons you have left to stop anything getting out the door. We have the map layout, the weapons and enemies, so which classes are best to deal with this hive then? There aren't many guaranteed weapons available on the map itself, and some classes will rely on certain enemies spawning, like the marksman or nomad for example. Personally, I would say the gunner, mechanic, robotics expert and combat medic are the weakest options to beat this map, so let's get rid of them first. I'm going to organise the rest of the classes into what rank I think they should be. The anchor is at the top as being the best class for this map, as you start out with a weapon that is one of the best for this class, and the added escape card buffs are very useful here. Other classes like the Blade Master, Brawler and Tactician are great options here as well, as they have a lot of utility or melee damage. Hammer Bursts and Gnashers are almost guaranteed on this map, and these classes all benefit from those weapons. The classes I've listed as being good have a decent weapon almost guaranteed on the map, or may have some decent melee damage. And everything listed under OK relies heavily on some RNG to get the weapons that work best for them. So let's say you are playing as the marksman, you need a sniper to spawn in that first fight to be useful. If you are playing as a class that does rely on certain enemies spawning early on, and it doesn't, you do have the option of quitting and restarting to change up the spawns. Since I mentioned the Anchor as being the best class to take into this hive, what setup would I suggest? Bolt Up Bandolier and Body Shot are here to make you do as much damage as possible, and you will start out with extra ammo, which is perfect if you have the Ammo Starvation Mutator active. Barrier will have its passive at 50% extra damage when shooting through it, giving even more damage and protection, so using Barrier Battery to make this last as long as possible is a must. Adrenaline Junkie is here for when the venom starts to get a little bit too close. It helps you deal up to 80% extra damage when in any part of the green venom area. I will give you options for your last open card slot as well. Bullet Chain can be useful here if you manage to headshot an enemy. It will increase your damage output for 15 seconds, making the next enemy slightly easier to deal with. In Your Face can be used if you want to taunt a high value target, though there are only a few in this hive. And Crazy Tough is always great, more health equals better survivability. That is everything there is to know on this hive. If you do have any other good tips that I may have missed, please leave them in a comment below for your fellow gears. Be sure to check out some of the class guides I have on my channel as well, which cover most of the classes for Horde mode. If you like this kind of video or Escape in general, please leave me a like on this video and subscribe to see my future uploads. We will leave it here for this one. Have an awesome day, gears, and I will see you in the next one.